Tony D and Little Joan in the background, and this is a screenwriter's rant on 3 comedies. First, there's a movie called Xmas, a rom-com. Next up, there's Ted the Series from Seth MacFarlane. And finally, A Vampire in the Family, a movie that I think, it's definitely a foreign film. I'm not sure which country. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. Links in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys. Books 1 through 13. Available at Amazon.com. Makes a great Christmas gift. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. Anyhow, Xmas is about a dude who proposes to his girlfriend, and they're going to get married, but then before Christmas they break up. He blames her and gets depressed and doesn't want to go home for Christmas, but she loves the family so much, and the family loves her. The boyfriend's family, they invite her for Christmas anyway since he isn't coming. And so she goes, and he shows up as a surprise on Christmas and finds her there. And then it becomes a competition for the affection of his family. And she refuses to leave, and they go back and forth and sabotage each other. But then, of course, they realize they love each other, and they get back together. They probably get married, the end. So, Xmas. Pretty standard stuff. First act, he proposes. A little while later, they break up. The family invites the girl. He shows up as a surprise on Christmas and finds his ex-fiancée there. Second act, they sabotage each other for the whole second act. There's the sister. They undermine each other, each trying to win the affection of the families. But then they realize they're still in love. They have sex, and they get back together. Third act, they get married. So, pretty standard rom-com stuff. As rom-coms, it looks sort of very standard. But as, I'm not a rom-com guy. But if I was dating someone and I kind of got roped into seeing this movie, it might be tolerable. I'll say that. Next up is the Ted series. This is a prequel to the Ted movies. And this is the guy playing Mark Wahlberg as a kid. And when he was a kid, he made a wish upon a star. His teddy bear came to life, became a celebrity. But then later he just became, kind of a normal dude who lived at the family's house. And then eventually they made him go to school because he was out of control and, messing around with whores. And so he goes to school and he helps John and he learns. I don't know how they could enroll him in school. That doesn't make any sense. But it's Seth MacFarlane. So essentially it's going to be Family Guy jokes. He even talks like Peter, quite frankly. So it looks like it'll be fun for a while. I'd give it a season before it would probably get tiresome on me. Even less, really. But high school hijinks with Ted, sure, why not? It's on Peacock. It's a series, so there's no 3-act breakdown. And finally, there is A Vampire in the Family. Basically, this guy discovers that his brother-in-law is a vampire. And he eventually has to bring him down because he also wants to take over the world. So, first act, his brother-in-law shows up, I guess, out of the blue and starts hanging out with the family. His father-in-law realizes he's a vampire and he needs to kill him to save, I assume, his daughter. So he has to follow him around and prove that he's a vampire. At first nobody believes him, but then he goes to a vampire get-together and eventually, exposes him. So this is them going to the vampire get-together. So first act, at first they don't know he's a vampire. They spend the first act discovering he's a vampire. Second act, I'm not sure what language this is. Second act, it drops December 24th. A weird time to drop a vampire movie, even a comedy. Second act, they they're going to bring him down. At first, nobody believes he's a vampire, but he keeps trying to convince them. Eventually, they come to believe him because they see more and more evidence. So they decide to infiltrate a party full of vampires dressed as vampires on Halloween, I think. And they do, and then they're forced to fight the vampires at a big party. And I'm not sure how they beat them, but somehow some wackiness ensues and they beat the vampires, would be my guess. Or maybe they all become vampires. See, this is the fun part about watching movies from other cultures. Sometimes they'll take a weird turn that works in other cultures, but that probably wouldn't work here. So, what did my sister see in you? Oh, right, brother-in-law. Okay, so it wouldn't be his daughter, it would be his sister. So, yeah. It looks okay. So, A Vampire in the Family, Ted the series, and Xmas. Well, obviously Xmas is on the bottom for me because it's a rom-com, and I can only tolerate so much rom-com. It looks okay. It looks tolerable. I wouldn't knock it, but at the same time, I wouldn't watch it unless, you know, the woman I'm dating is like, oh, let's watch Xmas, and I'd be like, all right. You know, there's plenty of other rom-coms I'd be like, oh God, no, but Xmas looks tolerable. Second would probably have to be Ted, only because it's kind of predictable. And I've seen Family Guy. I've seen a million episodes of Family Guy, and this feels like it's just going to be Family Guy jokes, you know, in high school, which is okay. It's a little more grounded. You know, it's got Seth MacFarlane's sort of signature voice, which is fun. It'll be pretty good, I think. But I don't think it's going to provide much surprise. And that's really key for a comedy. It's got to be surprising. And I don't think, you know, I don't like prequels. As far as prequels go, though, this is probably one of the best ones, I guess. But ultimately, you know, I'm just not that interested. I'd maybe watch one or two episodes if they were... And it looks like it's executed okay. But top of my list would have to be A Vampire in the Family. Probably because there'd be some surprises in here. Because, again, the culture's different. I'm not sure where it's shot at, but... And Netflix does have a pretty good rep with picking foreign movies. They seem to skim the cream of the crop and really only pick the good ones. You know, with a few exceptions. I mean, obviously, Cuties was a huge mistake. But this looks like it could be good. It looks like it could be a little slapsticky. I mean, there is a write-up here. A faint-hearted ex-soccer player learns his brother-in-law is a vampire with world domination plans. He must gather his courage and save the day. Yeah, I think it's going to end like you'd expect with them not becoming vampires. But, yeah, so there might be some surprises in that. So, Xmas, then Ted, then this. Anyhow, scratch that, reverse it. Thank you. And that's it for me, Tony D and Little Joan. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more based takes. Saturday, I'll be at the Cedar Bridge Tavern down in the Pines for the reenactment of the last battle of the American Revolution, which featured Bloody John Bacon, who also appears in Book 6 of the Pineys. I'll be there from 12 to 5. Then at 6 o'clock, there's a night market in Laurel Springs. I'll be driving up or down from the Cedar Bridge Tavern, so I may be a little late, depending on when that ends. So I will try to get there on time. You may catch me there at 6, frantically setting up. Then on Sunday, I'll be at Valari's in Sicklerville, New Jersey, from 9 to 1 for their holiday market. Should be a fun weekend. Hope you see you there. We'll see you